The city of Columbia, Maryland was the brainchild of visionary businessman James Rouse. He was a developer who believed that cities could and should be better. After years of working to rehabilitate slums in Baltimore, he felt there was a need for a better kind of city, a planned city designed to prevent and solve the social problems common to cities in post-World War II America. And so Columbia was born. In 1963, Rouse convened a group of 14 thought leaders to design the ideal city. They considered all aspects of human living because Columbia was intended to be a garden for growing people. The work group came up with many of the key elements that are uniquely Columbia: the village, the interface center, the top lot. And the planners agreed that in order to be true to the vision, the community had to be open to all people, regardless of race, nationality, or income level. Rouse promised that housing will be provided at a range of rents and prices to accommodate the company janitor and the CEO. In June of 1967, Columbia went live. The Frank Gehry designed Columbia Exhibit Center on Lake Kittamaqundi opened with an exhibit titled "The Next America," describing Columbia as a visionary new city that would be open to all. The first homes started to be built, and that same year, James Rouse sent a memo to all developers and their sales agents to make sure that they understood that Columbia is truly an open city for people of all races to be treated equally, which was pretty revolutionary because the Fair Housing Act of 1968 had not yet been passed. This inclusive housing policy meant that many of the first home buyers in Columbia were mixed-race couples. In fact, the first baby born in Columbia was the product of a mixed marriage. As Columbia grew, Rouse's vision started becoming a reality. A range of housing types were built in each village so anyone could take advantage of Columbia. Columbia's children were raised to be colorblind, and families of diverse backgrounds lived, worked, and played together. Potential Columbia residents would visit the exhibit center in droves to hear about Columbia's unique vision and values, and then could choose their perfect home or apartment from the available lots and malls. Of course, subsidized units were available based on income and were aimed at teachers and other frontline workers. But the times they were a-changing. Economic realities, including the recession of 1973 and a decrease in the amount of federal funding for low-income housing projects, impacted the Columbia villages that were built after 1970. Then, James Rouse retired from the Rouse Company in 1979, which meant that the Rouse vision was no longer part of future development in Columbia. A decade later, the exhibit center was shut down for good. The amount of affordable housing decreased over and over as each new village was constructed. When construction on the last village of River Hill began in 1990, there were 0 rental properties included in the building plans, and starting home prices were much higher than those of older villages. So what did this mean for Columbia? What began as an integrated new city started to morph into a traditionally segregated community. Sadly, this is typical. Studies have shown that without intentional efforts to maintain integrated neighborhoods, segregation always creeps back in. We're more segregated than ever, and incidents like the 2019 school redistricting fiasco making the national news illustrate this. We've lost sight of the vision of Columbia as an integrated, welcoming garden for growing people. Columbia is still an incredibly desirable community, but most people choose to live here because of our amenities, like pathways, good schools, not because they understand and support the Columbia experiment. But we could still change course. What if we, as a community, embraced the original vision for Columbia and actually lived our, let's face it, liberal democratic values? New Columbia pioneers could return to Columbia's older neighborhoods and upgrade the homes for the 21st century. We could reopen an updated exhibit center to educate people about Columbia's goals and ideals. We could reinvigorate our older neighborhoods with new faces who support Columbia's values. We could insist that our underserved schools be funded first, not last. We could re-envision Columbia and make it even better than the original concept, because when you know better, you do better. All we need to make it happen are some visionary thinkers who still believe in Columbia as the next America and are willing to work hard for a better future. Could you be one of them?